Okay. Um, Thank you so much, Mary. My name's Jill. I'm an alcoholic addict, and congratulations, Elmo, on 2 years. That's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for asking me to come in today. I am. I have a sponsor. My sponsor has a sponsor. I don't know what are the things like that you say. I um I just got 1 year on December 1st. And that's crazy to me. Um, because I really I didn't want to have AA. I didn't want to have to do AA. I have like 1,000 thoughts that are trying to barf out of my brain all at once. So, to begin at the beginning, the first time I ever drank, I blacked out and I woke up standing in my bedroom and my mom was changing my sheets and screaming at me, "What the hell's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" Because I had 6 mics hard in 15 minutes and I felt free like for the first time. I didn't think about what I was going to say. I didn't worry about what people thought of me. I peed in the woods for the first time poorly. Um, and except for waking up in complete and utter terror, if I can reference the big book, The Four Horsemen, like terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair. Um, and it just that the fact that I repeated that same cycle so many times with like new reasons that it was okay is baffling to me, is absolutely insane. Because I didn't mention I was 12, I think, when that happened, or 13, and I'm 37 right now. Um, and I haven't had a drink in a year. And yeah, basically in terms of background, I was a super anxious child, like panic attacks, stuff like that. And so um booze was kind of the same thing as panic, where I was like, well, I'm not insane. That's insane. Thinking you're going to die from nothing is insane. Booze might kill me, but at least it's for real. So I recall very clearly, like screaming at myself out of a panic attack at 13, like, "You're fucking fine. Everything's fine. Stop." You know what I mean? Stop it. And so that kind of carried through. I was like, I can fix this. Okay, you will not beat me, booze. So uh yeah, I just like, school, I did like theater, and that kind of got me out of my shell. I got the same thrill from engaging that I did from checking out with booze and alcohol. And comedy and just like, I'm a junkie for connection, and that's why this is working. Um, Sorry, I'm not very linear. I'm gonna say that that's gonna sound like a red flag to me when I say it, but I mean like finding connection with myself as well as others has been very freeing. Um, but we'll come back to that. I was always a problem drinker, and I was in the hospitality industry, so like it was perfectly normal to, get rip roaring wasted twice a week. Like that was okay. I wasn't as bad as like that guy who like was super into blow until later. I wasn't as bad as her who like threw up. I don't throw up, until later. I've heard them called the Yets. You are eligible too. Um, and so I hadn't experienced a lot of the Yets, jails, institutions, death. Um, I did, and so I did all the things, like, okay, well, I'm just not going to drink this time, or I'm not going to, I'll switch to liquor, or, whiskey makes me angry, but gin makes me fun. Um, but I wasn't generally like a very happy drunk, like, until I wasn't going on the Yets. So uh, to save kind of the drunkalog through my 20s and early 30s, um, just a lot of problem behavior. But through the whole thing, I had a partner, a boyfriend who turned into a husband. Um, who is just a remarkably responsible human. Um, it was a yin and yang kind of thing, and he was my safety. And I was crazy and wild, and um, he was my anchor, and also my check. Like I couldn't go too crazy because then I'd have someone reflect it back to me, and I'd have to fix things and okay, a process improvement. I'll do this. I'll go to learn CBT, and I'm going to start taking this, and um at 33 from like a crazy obsessive executive functioning rabbit hole. I was, finally diagnosed with ADHD and generalized anxiety, and I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. So I was able to kind of understand a lot of my behaviors, a lot of the things that the reason that I did things. But the problem was I was becoming so informed that like it took even more like mental gymnastics and just like mind-blowingly conflicting um dissonance, I guess. Like and so I just thought, well, I'm just like crazy. I don't have any control when I drink. Um and then I lit it on fire by doing a bunch of drugs with it. Um but it's like the fact that, you know, I was just looking, I see that as my disease now, looking for a reason that I did it in order to be like, okay, identified, check, so we can tear this apart after and not stop behavior, like just stop drinking, stop digging. There's something I was in the step meeting recently and they said, why must there is in the 12 and 12, like the why must every alcoholic hit bottom? And I always got really mad when I heard that because I was like, I didn't. I hit it and then the bottom fell out. And then I hit it and the bottom fell out. And one time, um, anywho, I'll come back to that. Bottom kept falling out. Sorry, I'm so jumping around. Come with me. So a bunch of very terrible decisions, um, whilst drunk, um, and destructive behavior. Because I was rebelling, I guess, against this like safe, wonderful partnership that I had that was no longer a romance. It was like we were an awesome team. Um, and then the pandemic happened, and my job was illegal, and I was like a maid of honor that was like trying to deal with a bride who was like, well, what do you mean my wedding's not going to happen? And I was like, it's illegal for me to go to work. Like, and it just, I'm in Canada, and like when things shut down for the pandemic, like I felt so free. I felt so calm, and it was just like the entire world hit the fuck it button. Nothing matters. And it was, really freeing for me. And I've like noticed this balance now in sobriety too. Like everything's like this wonderful, ethereal, magical, like pony trail of, sparkles or complete nihilism. Like, um, and I've embraced that because, nothing's actually equilibrium in my brain. Like it's always a push and pull, kind of like a deep breath, which I don't take often. Okay. Um, so to get to that's what it was like. That's what brought me there. Um, And then when the pandemic happened, it was just like accelerated. Like, and I'm so grateful for all the horrible things that I did and things that happened because I think if not, I could have, if not for the drugs and the pandemic and my relationship ending, um, I could have lived a very long, unhappy alcoholic life. And I've seen it in my family. I could have controlled my drinking. I could have stayed away from cocaine. I could have managed well. And I'm so glad that I'm not. I'm so glad that I'm here instead. Um, because as free as I felt when I just didn't feel the anxiety, I felt the "Okay, nothing matters," like, like day 4 of a festival. Like my brain always broke on day 4 and I was just like, everything's wonderful. Nothing matters. Yay. Um until it did. I digress. So once the pandemic happened, like I was, using drugs alone. I, you know, was uninvited from a wedding. I woke up in a hospital in Vegas. I, wasn't sleeping for 3 days a week. That's the end of the drunk log. Basically, it all just came to a boiling point. And I said to my mom, going back to what I said about the bottoms, I was like, this has to be it, right? When I woke up in a hospital, they were like, this has to be it. This has to be the bottom. And she's like, don't underestimate yourself. And she was right because uh I freaked out and started, doing AA and NA and CODA and FLA and, and therapy and webinars and boundary. Like I just drinking from a fire hose of recovery. And it was actually when I was 15 days sober. I hadn't had a drink. 15 days was like the longest I'd been in my adult life. And I had a bachelorette to go to. So I'm like, this will be fine. I can do this, which is insane. It's completely insane. You're 15 days sober the first time in your life. I'm going to go to LA to a bachelorette. Oh, silly bitch. And I thought to myself, like, I wouldn't do that to her, the bride. It was like this wonderful woman, and I was like planning weddings before that. I had a lot of resentments towards them. My marriage had just ended, whole blah blah blah. But I was like, I wouldn't do that to her. I couldn't. That would be too horrible. That would be too selfish. Look at all the things you've already done. Like this can't happen. And I did. I didn't drink on the plane, which was like, oh my God, I didn't drink on the plane. Good for me. Normal drinkers don't think that. They don't think like, oh, good, I made it this far. That's not a thing that goes through their head. Um, and then I couldn't stop, like at all. And I did not care. And I like was uninvited on the second day. And I think there's a couple of people in LA here. I went to like Hamburger Berries by myself. My phone didn't work. And I was like, didn't realize that it takes 45 minutes for an Uber to come. So I'm just looking frightening on the street. Like, let me use your phone. Like, what? Everyone here is so mean. Like, and it was wild how quickly I went from a functioning, happy human holding on for dear life at 15 days sober to just right back into as soon as I started drinking again. Like my entire focus was myself. Everything was happening to me. And um I just lost all the perspective that was starting to come through working this program. Um I had always been a panicky person. Um Sometimes it's manic panic and it's fun and terrifying. But I was picked up by my mother from the airport after spending 3 days in LA alone. Just completely just doing whatever I want. I had a great time for some of it. Um, and I like laid in bed watching like Marvel movies for some of it. Like it just wasn't living. It was just floating through in a mass. Um, and when I was picked up from the airport from my mother. I'm so lucky. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't think. Like I did not want to be there. I didn't, and when I mean there, I just mean alive. Like I've never been, even in all my, panic attacks, anything, I've never been suicidal. I've never, because I'm too codependent. I was like, oh, that would be upsetting, which is insane. But in that moment, in that car ride, I was like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay if I died. That I'm ready to let go. And um and at the same time was thinking, how can I get enough booze in my body that I like won't be really sick? Like what I can't have a seizure. What if people see that I'm that bad? Um so that shit is uh wild. And that fast forgetter, um I had quit my job. I was living with my parents. If I didn't have all these external things to have me check the boxes to finally surrender and be like, bitch, you do not have this. Just stay, stop. Um, yeah. So I started AA and I ended up, I want to say I was terrified, absolutely terrified because I was like, I think I called the phone line because I was like, I can't be seen on a camera. Also, I was probably too looped to know how to use Zoom. Um, but I called and it was like an old timer. It was a group of 5 old timers on the phone. Each had 30 plus years of sobriety. And I called in just like wanting to barf every horrible thing I'd ever done. But also trying to like read how I was supposed to act. And I remember blurting out, I can't do the God thing. I can't. I'm sorry. But I need help. And this guy goes, if you don't like him, whatever one you find, fire him. And that was enough at that moment. I was like, okay, got it. And then I started like online ones. And when the really structured meetings I found got to, like I heard the Lord's Prayer or something, I was like, I was assured, and then would go to a different one. And and I wasn't willing to fake it till I make it. I was like, nope, I have to, even though understanding whatever I understood before wasn't helping. Um, I just kept going back. I was doing more meetings. So anytime I heard something that I was like, oh, I hate that. What do I do? I'll go to something else. And I just have to say how grateful I am, like, that you guys are here. For my time is 1 in the morning. And when I was really looping out, it was just like this island. Um, because I didn't have to worry about Tradition 10 or what I was, if I was breaking any rules to join the club I didn't want to go to. Um, and I reached out a lot. And I'm really glad I did when I was in that state because I don't know if I'd be doing it now that I have a job, I have a dog, I'm like isolating a little bit, but I was so desperate then that like it did not matter. And I was just kind of plowing through. Once I got comfortable with something, I was like, okay, got to do something next thing now. Um, so once I got comfortable with online meetings and just love them, popped around a whole bunch, then I was like, crap, now you got to go to in-persons. And it's not true for everybody, but the hugs are nice. And if I could have one superpower, it'd be teleportation, that's for sure. uh, just to pop around to all y'all. Um, and it was actually someone in NA that because for me I could get addicted to a walnut. Like I can't do the other things. I tried not drinking. P.S. Doing cocaine without alcohol sucks. It was horrible. Not recommended. And yeah, and then like I was never someone who smoked pot because it would stress me out, But then like not drinking, I was like, oh, it doesn't stress me out anymore. This is great. And all of a sudden, within a month, I'm like, don't dream anymore. Like, smoke at least once a day. And I was like, oh, crap. I've ruined this too now. Um, so for me, it had to be all the things. And it was someone in NA where I was like trying to convince her that like it was cool. I was like, I know everyone has their own path, and like, and Alcoholics Anonymous is only, but like, I think it's okay for me. And she's like, oh, I get it. You want me to co-sign your bullshit? And I was like, mm. And it was nice because that was what I needed to hear at that time. And it was such a contrast from like when I'd been to some of the in-persons where, I'd hear take cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth or shut up and you don't have it. And then like, I was just like, nope, 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 this isn't gonna work for me. Um, but when this like bubbly lady was just like, that's bullshit for you. I was like, oh, thanks. And then my sponsor kind of said the same thing in a really beautiful, lovely way. It was just like, well, if you'd like to work together, this is how I work the steps. This is, and I'm getting rambly now, so I'm going to wrap it up. Um, Life is a more sustained, exciting high without drugs and alcohol. Um, I'm not talking about all the shit I want to do anymore. I'm doing a lot of it. Um, I can't tell you how freeing it is to go to a concert and like not worry about the lineup for the bathroom or the drinks, like just silly little things like that. I don't snore anymore. I mean, I might now with the cold, but like that's just a time that's like a weird perk. I thought I was just a forever snorer. No, bitch, you were drunk. I'm sorry I call myself the B word so much. I feel quite free today. And it's not perfect every day. It's still a mess up there. But the best thing that happened was me stop trying to fix it with the broken part or just the different part. Like it's okay that I need everybody here because like it's so magical that you're here. Like, uh, and I think I feel like I've been talking forever, so I'm gonna stop. But I do want to read something like just because. So my sponsor kind of elaborate. Like I'm not comfortable with prayers, and it's funny because I'm like send good vibes. That's cool with me, but like just the word prayer, I'm like, ugh. And so but I'm in working the steps has been unbelievably like highly recommend. It's great. And I'm on 8 and 9 now, so it's like the scary ones again. 3 and 4 were great. Or 4 was great because I was like, I can tell you why I'm shit. But it wasn't that. And 5 was magical. Uh, Chill, it's almost 2 in the morning. Wrap it up. So I was able to, in working with my sponsor, adjust the 7th step prayer, which he has not 6 and 7 made 0 sense to me until I got there, which thank goodness, because that's the best thing I've learned from recovery is this part of recovery is not trying to get it, not trying to wrap it up in a neat little bow and like understand it. Um, because I'm just going to read the 7th step and be done. So this is like the adjusted 7-step prayer that I have that I'm supposed to read daily. Sorry, Juju. Um, Loving chaos, chaos, and love. This is me not correcting for the past or controlling for the future. I need help to accept, trust, and be okay presently. I let go. I give myself to new structure. No longer a flailing being riddled by human. Now flowing in the human state of being. Take 2. um, because I had to have something kind of fun that made sense to myself, and it might change. But I'm just so excited to be on this journey with all y'all. And I just want to end with one thing I heard that I was super excited. I'm so glad you said pickle, by the way, Mary, because pickle's my favorite. When I heard that, it was by someone who was like angry, and it was the best. They're like, I don't want one drink. I'm never gonna want one. I'm a pickle. Doesn't matter when it happened. And there was something so like empowering about being like, yeah, fuck normal drinking. I don't want that. And same thing. The last thing is I want to die living was something I heard that I just absolutely loved. It was just like, yeah. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening, guys.